Hello everyone, Cowbunger here. Today I want to talk about all the important details that we know about Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 2. Following the gameplay mechanics showcase and Plankton's reveal, there's been new information shared about Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 2 from many different places, so I've compiled it all into one video. This video will include things we have learned from gameplay videos and things we have learned outside of those videos too. If you are trying not to be spoiled about future roster additions, don't worry, I'm not going to be talking about those. Honestly, if you're trying to get All-Star Brawl 2 information from YouTube, you've probably seen many silhouettes of the leaked characters already, which is unfortunate, but the only thing I'm going to be talking about today in regards to the roster is how big it could potentially be, so here's your warning if you don't even want to know that. So let's get into that first actually. I'm recording this video on the Monday after the gameplay mechanics showcase. At the end of that showcase, just before they reveal Plankton, Hungrybox says that we can expect character spotlights at some point. These character spotlights could actually let us know how many characters are going to end up being in the game. Let me explain. Amazon UK and Best Buy both at one point listed the game to be released on October 24th. Today is August 7th and we are 11 weeks out from that leaked release date, including this week. If they did a character showcase twice every week, we would only get 22 character spotlights before the game releases. However, Nick All-Star Brawl 1 had 25 characters after DLC, and it has been advertised that the roster is bigger than that. So, they have to do 3 character spotlights a week for a month in order for the character roster to be bigger than Nick All-Star Brawl 1. Now, if they do 3 character spotlights a week until release, we could get 33 spotlights. Here's where I talk about how many leaked newcomers there are, so last warning regarding that. Along with Squidward, Donatello, Raphael, Jimmy Neutron, and Plankton, there are at least 6 other newcomers yet to be revealed. If we assume Vlad will be a playable character, then that would lead to 12 newcomers being in the game. There would be a total of 37 characters in Nick All-Star Brawl 2 if all the veteran characters returned. So let's loop back around to this. If they do end up putting out 3 character spotlights every week consistently, that means that 4 veteran characters might be cut from the roster. If they do 4 character spotlights for a month, then that means every veteran is coming back. Pay attention to how many come out throughout these next couple of weeks. If we get low numbers, then things are not going to be good for the veteran characters we haven't seen. Those veteran characters are Sandy, Leonardo, Michelangelo, Lincoln Loud, Helga, Powder Toast Man, Oblina, Toph, CatDog, Shredder, and Hugh Neutron. All of these characters are in danger of being cut. If you ask me, there's no way they all go though. I'm thinking it's realistic to expect like 4 cuts at best, and maybe 8 at worst, but man, I really wouldn't want 8 cuts. With all that being said, there's one other thing that will likely confirm the entire roster for the game at some point. That is a story trailer. A story trailer for the campaign mode of the game is set to appear at some point, according to an inside source that QG, who is a fellow YouTuber who covers the game, seems to have. Even without an inside source saying as much, we can expect a campaign trailer to be the last big trailer for the game before it launches, and therefore it should reveal every character in the game. Keep an eye out for that trailer. That is everything important revolving around the roster size without going too much into leaks. We are not going to be talking about leaks anymore. The rest of the information in this video comes from either official gameplay of Nick All-Star Brawl 2, developers of the game, or playtesters of the game. Let's talk about general gameplay mechanics first. The first thing covered in the gameplay mechanics showcase is movement. Movement in Nick All-Star Brawl 2 is fully analog. That means that when you tilt your stick forward, you will not go a set speed. Instead, there's a system in place similar to Smash, where you tilt your stick, you walk. When you tilt it more, you'll walk a little bit faster, and if you tilt all the way, you will walk at your maximum walk speed. If you quickly move your stick forward, you will instead initiate a dash, which then goes into a run. This is much different from Nick All-Star Brawl 1, where you could not adjust your speed on the ground or in the air in any way outside of going forward or backward at set speeds. The next thing covered is that tap jump is an option now. This was not a thing in Nick All-Star Brawl 1, so all you tap jumpers can rejoice knowing that it's in the game. You'll be able to set custom profiles with custom controls and give them name tags. The next thing that's covered is defensive options. Rolling out of shield, spot dodging out of shield, and air dodging are now things in Nick All-Star Brawl 2. The block system in Nick All-Star Brawl 1 has been completely removed in the favor of a Slap City-like shield system. Shields in this game cover your entire body no matter how much they get hit. There's an outer bubble shield that just shows that you are blocking attacks. Then there's an inner bubble shield that shows how much health your shield has. This inner bubble shield only indicates your shield health, so there's no such thing as shield poking in Nick All-Star Brawl 2. Shield poking in Smash is when an attack hits through a shielding opponent because their bubble shield was not covering a part of their body. So again, that is not in Nick All-Star Brawl 2. A shield's health depletes over time and will deplete faster when it gets hit, and when your shield health is depleted entirely, you will go into a stun state that leaves you open for attacks. The only other things to note about blocking in Nick All-Star Brawl 2 is that you can still be pushed around while blocking, and you can still go into teeter, but only near the ledges of the stage. You will no longer teeter on platforms, instead you will just be forced off the platform. Parries are now timing based only, there are no directional button presses involved. You parry when you block right as an attack makes contact with your shield. Parrying makes it so that you suffer no block stun or block push, which allows you to go for a counter attack faster. For air dodges, there is a neutral air dodge where you keep all your air momentum while doing it, and then there are directional air dodges where you move your character in a direction you hold on your control stick by a small distance, and you will lose any air momentum you had. You can't act instantly out of any air dodge. This works very similarly to how it works in Smash Ultimate. You can still wave dash in Nick All-Star Brawl 2. The next thing talked about is the rock paper scissors mechanic with strong attacks in Nick All-Star Brawl 1. Basically, since there are 3 strong attacks, each strong had another strong that they were weak to, and if you got hit by a strong attack that beat the one that you threw out, you would go into a stun state. This mechanic is gone in Nick All-Star Brawl 2. Light and strong attacks are still in the game, with the addition of horizontal attacks. So here's the full moveset that every character has at their disposal. For grounded attacks, you have neutral light, horizontal/forward light, down light, up light, dash attack, neutral strong, down strong, and up strong. In the air, you have neutral light, forward light, down light, back light, up light, neutral strong, down strong, and up strong. You can charge your strong attacks on the ground and in the air, and strong still reflect projectiles just like in Nick All-Star Brawl 1. As for special moves, there are now 4 of them. You can do a neutral, forward, down, and up special, both on the ground and in the air. Before I talk about Slime Eater, I want to talk about grabs. They are not talked about during the gameplay mechanics showcase, but we do know a lot about them. First of all, grabs act more like they do in Smash. You will hold an opponent in place, and from there you can either pummel them for extra damage, or throw them in a direction. It has been said that throws are like Smash as well, so we can assume that there are 4 throws for each character. A developer for the game has said that each grab is unique, which is interesting but vague. The best thing I could come up with is that grab ranges and how fast grabs come out might vary for each character. Each throw will probably vary in terms of knockback and the angle that they send at for each character. One thing that they confirmed is that you can no longer grab in the air, and you cannot grab projectiles anymore, unlike in Nick All-Star Brawl 1. Now, we have the Slime Meter. The Slime Meter builds up by both hitting your opponent and getting hit by your opponent. You gain more meter if you hit the opponent, however. The Slime Meter fills up to 3 bars, and each bar takes longer to fill than the last. Once you reach 3 bars, you have the ability to do a super move, and each character has their own super move. It has been said that supers must be hit in order to activate, so there may not be any install supers that make your character much stronger for a limited amount of time. You can use your bars of meter to enhance certain attacks and defensive options, or do completely new options. In order to use your Slime Meter, you must hold down the trigger button followed by another button. Let's go over what was gone over in the gameplay mechanics showcase first. You can use a bar of meter to enhance any special attack. Doing this makes your special attack better in some way. For SpongeBob, his bubble special can be enhanced to make 3 bubbles come out at once, and they are all bigger. Slime Burst is a defensive option you can use for 2 bars of meter. If you are in hit stun, you can Slime Burst to escape the attack and push your opponent off of you. You can use a bar of meter to cancel out of any attack, allowing you to go straight into another one, or just to stop doing an attack without any end lag. You can do this to extend combos, but keep in mind that the slime cancel attack does less knockback and hit stun than normal. When you slime cancel and the opponent is in hit stun, they will freeze in place before going back into hit stun, allowing you to line up your next attack easier. You can use a bar meter to turn your air dodge into an air dash that allows you to attack out of it. This seems to work very similarly to how it does in Nick All-Star Brawl 1. That is everything and more gone over in the gameplay mechanics showcase, but we still have some more stuff to go over when it comes to the gameplay mechanics. This is a change from Nick All-Star Brawl 1, but you can no longer cancel dash attacks into another move or a jump. You have to use a slime cancel to do that now. The end lag penalty for spamming projectile attacks in Nick All-Star Brawl 1 is going to be in Nick All-Star Brawl 2 as well. Meter does not reset on death, and you start with no meter. There's actually a jump squat in this game, unlike Nick All-Star Brawl 1, and it seems to be either 4 or 5 frames long depending on the character. Air dodges do not put you into free fall. Chip damage from blocking seems to be removed from Nick All-Star Brawl 2. Strafing is not returning in Nick All-Star Brawl 2. Slime meter enhanced strong attacks are a thing. We do not know exactly how the slime meter enhances strongs, however. They are described as EX strong, so we can assume that they could either be stronger versions of the strong attacks that potentially have different properties in some way, or they could just be fully charged strongs without having to charge. You can use slime meter to enhance your blocking as well. Enhancing your block with slime meter will give you less block stun and block push, but it's probably not as strong as a parry. You cannot burst out of a block because of this. SDI, which basically allows you to mash out of a multi-hit attack, is a thing in Nick All-Star Brawl 2. Grab techs are returning in Nick All-Star Brawl 2. You do not have to press jump and down in order to go through a platform anymore. It works like it does in Smash. You can pivot in this game. This allows you to turn the opposite direction out of a dash. Shield dropping, which allows you to get off a platform as you're shielding, is not in the game. Dance dancing is a thing. This allows you to move back and forth rapidly during your dash animation. Reverse aerial rush is in the game. This allows you to turn around just before jumping so you can perform back airs on opponents in front of you more easily. You can do reverse air specials and potentially reverse strong attacks. This is mainly for neutral special and neutral strong. Both can potentially be turned around in the air by flicking the stick as you activate either move. You cannot burst out of a grab, but you can burst after you've been thrown. There's no move stalling in this game. In Smash, this prevents you from using the same move over and over again by making it do less damage and knockback the more you do it. Finally, we have information about taunts. Each character has 3 taunts, and if you taunt while your opponent is alive, it will actually give you a small amount of meter. You can even slime cancel taunts, which is pretty funny. Okay, I could end the video here, but no, I'm going to keep on going because I'm gangsta like that. I want to specifically talk about everything we've seen in the other trailers. So, we will look at the reveal trailer here, then we'll look at Plankton's reveal to end the video. I will talk about almost every character and everything that they do in this trailer. Here we go. I'm going to start by talking about everything we see with Squidward, since he's the one we actually see first within the trailer. We see Squidward doing his handsome Squidward spin into the wooden pole here. This is likely a super, because the background changes when he is seen doing this move. He is seen playing the clarinet here, and this is likely one of his taunts. Here he is seen doing a move where he plays the clarinet and sound waves come out of it, doing multiple hits. This could be his jab. Next, Squidward does a move where he paints bold and brash. This is likely a neutral strong. For a split second, we see Squidward doing the janky hitbox kick. You'd love to see it. I think this might be his forward tilt, but really so could his clarinet move, so if they were swapped around, I wouldn't be surprised. Next, we see Squidward doing Krakatoa. This could be one of his taunts, but since fire comes out of his head, it could also end up being his up light or up strong. Next thing for Squidward is him doing the iconic future thing. This is probably a taunt. When Jimmy appears, Squidward is seen in the bath spoiling himself. This is probably his entrance animation because Jimmy is also doing his entrance animation here. Around the end of the trailer, we see some uncut gameplay, and we get a glimpse of Squidward's up B. He rides his bicycle in the air, and then it explodes, and he goes flying upwards. This is it for Squidward in the reveal trailer. I'm not going to talk about anything relating to SpongeBob because we all know he will be the first moveset showcase, and therefore anything I say about him is probably going to be irrelevant very soon. So that leaves us with everyone else, starting with April. April might be doing a taunt or an idle animation here. For a literal frame, we see April doing what appears to be a spin with her mic. Because she's clipping into the floor, I actually believe this is an up air, and the pose she does after seems some kind of landing lag animation. If the move has decent landing lag, I can see it being her strong up air. Right after that, April does a kick. That's a new move. I'm going to say it's her forward light. Garfield's probably taunting here. Garfield is throwing an object here. Looks very similar to his neutral special in Nick All-Star Brawl 1. But if he's throwing a pie, it's much smaller than it was in Nick All-Star Brawl 1. Another very interesting thing is happening here. When SpongeBob gets hit by this move, a food item comes out of the pie. I can only assume that's what this is. Garfield picks it up, and I think that means that Garfield has a move that allows him to heal himself, so that's really interesting. Lucy does her up strong in Nick All-Star Brawl 1 here. The only other time we see Lucy, it looks like she's in the middle of her super attack. You can't really make out what she's about to do though. She has her arm going around her face and it looks like she's about to throw something. Any Loudhouse fans are free to tell us in the comments what they think this is. If it's not referencing anything, maybe she'll just throw out a lot of bats. I don't know. Aang does what is likely a new down strong in the air here. He plummets downward and then releases a shockwave of spikes or crystals around him when he lands. Aang does what is likely a new light neutral air where he bends water around him here. Nice to see him just not be an airbender. Aang does what is likely a new light forward air here. He kind of spins around with the wind going around his legs. Here I think Aang does a new down strong where he bends fire around him. This mimics the scene where he fire bends for the first time and hurts Katara. And now I feel bad for Aang again. Rocko does both his light up air and light down air from the first game here. His light up air does not have him donning the boxing gloves like he does in Nick All-Star Brawl 1 though. Next for Rocko is him using the Psychomatic to capture Lucy and then spit her out. The Psychomatic immediately spits Lucy out, which makes me think this is a new special move for Rocko. We see Jenny doing her down strong from Nick All-Star Brawl 1 here, and that's the only thing we see her do. Nigel can be seen doing his old light neutral air here. It's not clear if this is still his light neutral air, or if it's his light forward air now. Nigel punches an 8-year-old in the face with some boxing gloves. This is a new move. I'm thinking this might actually be a forward tilt, or a new neutral strong because he hops forward before he does the move. Nigel isn't doing a move here, but it's still worth noting that Nigel does 3 jumps in this clip. This is different from Nick All-Star Brawl 1, where he only had 2 jumps. He could have more than 3 jumps in Nick All-Star Brawl 2, but we know for sure he at least has 3. We see what seems to be a snippet of Ren and Stimpy's down strong. It's similar to what happens in Nick All-Star Brawl 1, but the animation looks completely different. Danny does his down light here into his light up air. Both of these moves are from Nick All-Star Brawl 1. They just look nicer now. Danny does his old down light air here, and his arm completely bugs out. But one interesting change about this move is that it appears to be a move where Danny throws a projectile downwards now. The only thing we see from Korra is what I actually believe to be her super move. The camera zooms in on her face, and when it zooms out, you can see she's creating this dome-looking thing with all 4 elements, and it will likely get bigger and attack anyone in the area. We see a move where Raph spins and goes upwards in the air before ending things with a kick. This is probably either a side special or up special. I lean more towards it being an up special. Raph does a move where he does a spiral leaping spin forward. This looks similar to a Shredder move. I am bringing that up for no particular reason. I think this is a side special because it seems like you can charge it, and maybe how far you go will depend on how long you charge the move. Reptar seems to have a new move where he breathes out fire. This looks like a forward tilt, and that is the only thing we see Reptar do. Zim does a move here that's hard to make out, but I know what it is. He does a point just like in Nick All-Star Brawl 1 when he summons Gur. Interesting thing here is that I cannot tell if he's summoning Gur or not. I just can't see him. I can kind of see the little portal thing here that spawns in the first game when Gur comes out of it, but I can't make Gur himself out at all. Another interesting change is that Gur or whoever spawns behind Zim now. Kind of looks like he's about to do something else after this, but we don't get to see what it is. Also, his hair from his disguise just kind of pops up out of nowhere. That's just one of the many visual bugs in the trailer. Patrick is seen doing his thinking pose here, probably an idle animation. Next we have Patrick holding his rock house. This is probably his super attack. For a split second here, we see Patrick doing his up B to grab SpongeBob. Then he slime cancels into a new aerial move, and I'm gonna guess this is a light forward aerial. Jimmy Neutron is the last character to appear in the trailer. He uses spring shoes to jump high. His up B is seen in the still shot, where he uses a rocket jetpack to fly upwards. Next we see him doing his grab, where he traps the opponent in some floating water. Then he shoots them up with a futuristic gun for an up throw. It's been a long time since I watched Jimmy Neutron. I'm sure both of these are specific references that I just don't remember. Jimmy starts a combo with his light up air, and slime cancels and then does his light up air again. You can see the spring in his shoe pop out for extra range. Outside of characters, we also see lots of stages. Most of them are returning, but there are some new ones here. The first stage we see is the Fry Cook Games Arena. This appears to be a stage with 2 slanted platforms that hang away from the ledges of the main stage. Next we see the return of Technodrome, which seems to take more inspiration from its appearance in TMNT Shredder's Revenge. This appears to be a stage with 2 platforms near the ledges of the main stage, kind of like Pokemon Stadium and Smash. Harmonic Convergence is seen for a second here. When we see it here, it has 3 platforms and a slope on the left. The next time we see it, it has no platforms and the stage is completely flat. Then when Zim is running on it, there's a platform on the top left and there's a slope on the right. Then the last time we see it, the stage is flat again, but now there's a rocky moving platform over here. I'm not sure what to make of this. There could be stage variants in this game, or this could be something specific to Harmonic Convergence, where its layout is slightly different every time you play on it. Or it could be neither one of those things. There's not enough info to say for sure yet. The next stage is new and it appears to be from Avatar. Some folks and myself believe this is the Sun Warrior Lair. This is where Aang and Zuko learn to firebend in the Way of the Dragons, and this specific location is where Aang and Zuko perform what they learned to the first firebending dragons to prove their worthiness. As a stage, this just seems like a long platform that you can walk off of. I hope the dragons make an appearance in this stage. Next is another new stage, Jimmy's Lab. Guess that was a giveaway that he was going to show up later. Both times we see this stage, we only really see it from the right ledge. This ring on the flask here looks like a platform, and there seems to be a bigger platform here on the top left, right in the middle of the stage, but that's all I can tell you about this stage really. Next is the Flying Dutchman ship, which we got a full look at in the Mechanics Showcase trailer. The stage layout looks exactly the same as Nick All-Star Brawl 1. Next is the Graveyard. From what I can tell, this might just be the final destination of the game like it was in Nick All-Star Brawl 1. We see the Western Air Temple next. This stage also confuses me, because you can see here that Squidward sends Aang flying to the right. But then we have this clip here, where there's a rock wall to the right preventing people from getting sent flying to the right. There's also a tree platform here, and then there's like 2 main platforms here. Again, maybe compare that to what we see here, where there's just 1 main platform and that is it. So here's what I'm thinking at this point. I'm thinking that there are probably variants of each stage in this game that basically allow you to pick the competitively viable layouts of each stage. So for example, right, I'm thinking that the competitively viable layouts for all the stages are probably going to end up being Final Destination, Battlefield, maybe Inverted Battlefield, and then Pokemon Stadium and Smashville. So I'm personally thinking, okay, that there are 5 different stage variants for every single stage in the game. I know that sounds a little crazy, but I just have a feeling that's what's going to end up happening. And, you know, when you play online, you're going to be able to play on any of those types of stages. So that's just my running theory, because I'm seeing way too many different variants of these stages. And at this point, it's just like, I really do wonder if this is what's happening here. So we'll see. Next stage we see is Rooftop Rumble. Look at this glow up right here. There's a lot of different stuff going on compared to how this looked in the first game. You still have your main platform here and then the smaller platform above it. But now there's like this crane thing that's probably going to end up lifting up a platform here that's going to connect to this platform on the left over here, which then leads into like this ladder that you can probably walk up and walk off the stage on. Then on the right over here, we have a whole different section where this kind of slopes upwards, and then it goes to a flat surface that you can probably walk off of too. Now we've got Sewer Slams next. This also has a new layout. There is a platform on the left and one on the right. The one on the left is lower to the ground than the one on the right. And then we've also got two slopes here. From here though, I can't really tell if this is like a walk-off over here or not. Next stage shown here is a new one. It kind of looks like a temple in the middle of the jungle. This could either be from the Wild Thornberries or Hey Arnold, based on what I've seen from other people. Next we see the Irken Space Armada, and this stage seems to be like Smashville. But if my theory is correct, then that means that this is actually not the default layout for this stage. So it might just end up being a variant instead. So for example here, you see how this platform's just not moving at all? That's why I think, you know, there's different stage variants and such. And speaking of, hey, look at this. It's Tommy's ball. This is the only item shown in this trailer, and it seems to be active, and it just works the exact same way as it does in Nick All-Star Brawl 1. We see a snippet of a new stage, the Loud Castle. There seems to be a platform on the left here that you can probably walk off of. From there you can drop down to a flat surface, and then it kind of looks like you can walk up this thing. It'll slope, and then it'll go straight here, and then it slopes back down and goes back to a flat surface like this. We see Conch Street here, and then also like this weird desert stage right here that I don't think relates to anything and comes from anything. So therefore, I don't know if these are actual new stages or if these were made purely for the campaign mode. The last stage we see is Powder Toast Trouble. We don't get to see much of this stage at all, but the wooden spoon going into the pan with the eggs in it is directly taken from Nick All-Star Brawl 1, so it's probably safe to assume that the layout of this stage is the same. Alright, so that covers just about everything in the reveal trailer. Let's end things by talking about Plankton's reveal trailer. I just want to talk about Plankton in general first, and then I'll talk about anything else I might find interesting. Maybe I should actually talk about the music first, because the music in this trailer is awesome. Like, I love it so much. That gets me pumped up. And now there's cowbell. Let's go. My guess is that this is the music that plays on the Fry Cook Games stage. The only other stage music we have heard for the game are in the mechanics showcase here. During it, you can hear a Jellyfish Fields remix, which sounds really nice.
Manage to start blocking just as you're about to get hit with an attack, you'll slash blue and hear an audio cue that lets you know that you just performed a parry. When that happens, you suffer no block stun and no block push from your opponent's attack and can
The song that plays after that is what I'm going to assume to be the new song for the Flying Dutchman ship. It sounds similar to the song in Nick All-Star Brawl 1, but I can tell it's not a remix.
Definitely be worth using to break out a combo or hang on to a stock for a little bit longer. Just keep in mind, it costs 2 whole bars, and there's plenty of other powerful offensive options available with slime as well.
Now for Plankton, we see some close-ups, and we see that Karen is a part of his mech, so that's really cool. Our first full shot of Plankton has him and his mech laughing maniacally. This is probably one of his taunts. Next thing we see is his jab. It's a 1-2 punch going into a rapid jab attack from Karen. So Karen gets down and dirty in the fight too. The move ends with Plankton slamming both of his arms to the ground. He looks pretty tired after this, but I'm not going to really read much into this. It just seems like an end lag animation. Plankton does what appears to be his uplight here. He literally does the mind blown emoji. That's funny. This could easily pass as an up strong too, but I think we actually see his up strong later in the trailer. After that, he does his up B, which is a propeller that hits people multiple times. We see him roll here, and then he does what I believe is his grounded side B. Plankton shoots out some sauce from his arm bottles here. This is probably a neutral special. Next clip shows Plankton doing his first hit of his jab into his side special. Then he cancels the side special immediately into an uplight. Now you can clearly see here, unlike in the last clip when he uses his side special, that Plankton leaves behind sauce on the ground. This is not just a visual thing, a dev has confirmed that there's more to the sauce that hasn't been confirmed yet. I think that the sauce will probably slow people down and or damage people while it's on the ground. So Plankton is actually going to do the Inkling mechanic better than the Inkling. LOL. Anyway, after the uplight, Plankton does another slime cancel into what I believe is his up strong. A chain comes out of his mech, and it reaches really far to catch anybody it can. And if it does get somebody, it will drag them down into the mech, and then the head will explode. I think this is his up strong because it has much more reach and therefore it'll have a lot more end lag too. Next is what I believe is his down special. He grabs SpongeBob, puts him over his head, and then does a 90-degree turn, slams him down onto the ground, crushing SpongeBob and sending him flying in the process. This has to be a special because you cannot air grab in this game, and therefore this is probably a command grab. Next we see Karen and Plankton fist pump. This is probably a taunt. Then we see him doing a move where he shoots sauce upwards and it hits multiple times. It has a ton of range. I believe this is his strong up aerial. It cuts to Plankton edgeguarding Jimmy's recovery with this move. Looks like a strong down air. It could be a light down air too, but the fact that Plankton kind of stalls in the air as he does it makes me think it's strong. Next, Plankton does a flying punch. I personally believe this is his side special, but in the air. It makes sense for it to be an entirely different animation where he does not drop sauce on the ground when he does it. Once Plankton hits Reptar's shield, he slime cancels into down special, which seems really nasty. Next we see Plankton doing the spinning arm move for a second. This is likely his light neutral air. Then he does a freaking Kazotsky kick to SpongeBob. I don't know where Plankton learned how to dance with a mech, but I like it. This combined with the spinning lariat kind of just reminds me of Zangief. This kick is probably his down light. Then it's jab 1 into side B again. Then he jumps, does his up B into slime cancel up strong. And it does KO. So that's why I think it's his up strong, because and slime cancel attacks are supposed to be less powerful and knockback, but it still ended up KOing, so yeah, there's no way that's not an up strong. And that is everything we see with Plankton. To end the video, I just want to point out some smaller things I noticed. I think we see Patrick's run animation here. I thought it was a move at first, but I don't think that's the case now. I see Krang over here in the background. I don't know if he appeared in Nick All-Star Brawl 1 like this, so I thought I'd point it out. After Jimmy does his up B here, he kind of goes into his inner tube looking ship. And he doesn't slime cancel anything here, so that must mean that after his up B, he does this just naturally, and we didn't know that before. And then when Reptar blocks here, he uses one of the buildings from the show, so that's a really nice touch. With that, I think I've covered everything I've wanted to cover in this video. I know for sure I didn't touch on everything, but I hope you learned something new about Nick All-Star Brawl 2 through this video. We are on the hype train for the game. I'm cautiously optimistic about the game. They're definitely more optimistic than cautious. At this point, any info we get about the game should be pretty straightforward until we get to that campaign story trailer, so expect me to analyze that when it comes out. Subscribe so you can see the video when it comes out. Leave a like for me because, man, I've probably been sitting here for like an hour and a half just talking about a children's fighting game. So, you know, even if you don't like the video, just leave me a like anyway because I think I deserve it. And I'll see you guys on the next video. Bye.